Hello, and welcome to our feature today, where we're going to discuss our top 20, our top 20 gotta watch for Halloween in the month of October. We know it's late in the month, and that tomorrow's the 31st, but you know, anyway, we came up with our list of top 20 top 20 films that we would watch uh, in the month of October and or on Halloween. And welcome here, Connie. Clearly, welcome my special guest, Deleted Scenes, and we are simulcasting on both channels. So thumb that like and share out the stream. All right, boils and ghouls. This is going to be a spooky, groovy, good time, and we'll hope to have some fun telling you what some of our favorite October Halloween ish films or Halloween or horror films, some of our favorites, and a couple honorable mentions at the end. All right, so I will start it off. We're going to start with right out of the gate. We're going from 20 to number 1, and I'm going to start off. And you're going to probably hate me for why is this so high on the list? Well, because there's a lot of Halloweenish and October films that I like to watch on Halloween, but this had to be in the top 20. My top 20 pick is the Rocky Horror Picture Show. No matter where I'm at, if I see it on somewhere, I end up watching that movie. So I probably watched that a few times in the month of October, and even more, especially on Halloween, because I like to sing along with the songs, and this movie that's just so spectacular, and it's really enjoyable Halloween-ish film. And now we'll move to Deleted Scenes number 20 pick.
All right. My number 20 is the Poughkeepsie tapes. And this was the last movie that I saw that scared the absolute crap out of me. It's basically the search for a serial killer told through the eyes of this forensic files type television show. And in between those segments, you get what are basically the found footage segments, which are basically the kills, and you just see just how depraved this killer has gotten. It gets to the point to where murder becomes like performance art to him, and he's always changing his MO so the cops can't get him. And it's a real descent into hell. It's a very good movie for what it is, but I almost don't want to recommend it to anyone at the same time because it is so dark. But I get scared by so few horror movies that when I get one that genuinely creeps me out, and the first time I saw this movie, it was an edited down version. The edited down version.
Edited
and
down.
I didn't sleep for 2 days.
Wow.
So that's number 20.
Groovy. And I see we got joining us in the chat David Quintana and LDG Free the Net. And David asked, did anybody like Creepshow? Well, yes, I love Creepshow. That's one of my favorites. But unfortunately, for me, it didn't quite make the top 20. So that's all around year horror film that's good any time of the day of the year, 365. And hey, we have Big Al Presents joining us. All right. Well, moving right along with my number 20, uh, number 19 pick, sorry, is 1985's Return of the Living Dead. This is a unquotable sequel to, not sequel, but it's kind of connected to the 1968 George Romero's uh, Night of the Living Dead. This one's more of a horror comedy, and this is the one that turned zombies, instead of eating flesh, they made them straight on. They only ate brains to remain alive. It's got a lot of great music from the soundtrack. It's got a lot of quirkiness, and it's a zombie film, and you should go check that out. All right, Deleted, what was your number 19 pick?
Well, I went dark on number 20, so I'm going to go fun for number 19, and I'm going to go with the original William Castle, Vincent Price, The House on Haunted Hill. And I get it. It's cheesy. You can see that the skeleton that's supposed to be walking around by itself is being held together by string. That's fine. It's cheesy, but it's fun. And it also makes for one of the best Riff Tracks episodes of all time. So anybody who wants to have their horror with a good dose of fun, go with The House on Haunted Hill, the original one. Yeah.
And welcome, Tiger Stripes. All right, let's see. So Tiger Stripes. So far this spooky season, we have watched They Live, Nosferatu, Dracula with Bela Lugosi, and Bram Stoker's Dracula with Gary Oldman, and Twilight and Twilight gonna watch The Great Pumpkin on the CB tonight. Awesome sauce. Very happy Halloween to you, Tiger Stripes. All right. Moving along to my number 18th pick out of my top 20 is the 1981 horror film The Howling. Has a runtime of 1 hour and 31 minutes, and this was the makeup artist was Rob Bottin. Also did the work for another one that happens to be in my list, which we'll get to later. The Thing. I love the werewolves and that whole creepiness of the werewolves in there, and it's just all perfect film for Halloween in October. All right, on to you, Deleted Scenes.
All right, my number 18 is from the silent era, and I'm going to go with The Cabinet of Dr. Caligari. Mainly because of the ending, which makes you rethink everything that you've seen. And you have that great Conrad Veidt performance where he's the quote unquote undead. And I had really only known him from Casablanca, where he's the villain. And it was cool kind of seeing this early performance of his. Like I said, that ending that works like gangbusters, man. And it just creeps you out and makes you rethink everything you've seen.
All right.
That's my 18.
Okay. Moving right along to my number 17th pick on the list. I have to go with Fright Night from 1985, the original Fright Night. And it's a vampire flick. It's fun. runtime's not too long, and it's just delightful goodness of you got vampires in there, and the feel of the film's just all so wonderful. All right, back to you, deleted scenes.
All right, I'm going to go with a little bit of J horror, and I'm going to go with Ringu. This was the original Japanese version of The Ring, and I really did a number on myself with that one. Is I watched the Japanese version and the American version back to back as kind of like this midnight double feature for myself, and yeah, that was a mistake. Because I really creep myself out, and there's things that there are scenes in the Japanese version that aren't in the American remake, so I didn't see them coming. And the scene where she kills the guy on stage, I jumped about 3 feet up in the air when that happened. So yeah, this one has got some good scares in it. So that's my 17.
All right. Okay. All right. Moving on to my number 16 pick on the list. I have to go with Trick or Treat, an anthology horror film, which came out, I believe, in 2006, made in 2005. And it's the perfect anthology tale. It's got like 3 mini stories that all merge into one. And it's got werewolves, it's got vampires, and it was so clever. I really enjoyed it, and I enjoy watching it either if I don't watch it every October, I watch it at least every other October, and it's just perfect. All right, back to you, deleted scenes.
My number 16 is Trick or Treat. Anthology film. 3 different stories that take place in a small town on Halloween night. Great, iconic, character there with the Samhain, the little pumpkin head kid, and it's kind of like a horror Pulp Fiction because you have these interconnecting stories, and how they connect is pretty interesting. And I didn't see it all. I didn't see it all coming, and it's got it's another one that has a pretty kick-ass little ending. So I'm going with Trick or Treat.
I was surprised that we picked the same number 16.
Yep.
Amazing.
I didn't want to say.
All right. Moving on to my number 15th on the list. I went with John Carpenter's The Prince of Darkness. And it stars, it has Alice Cooper as a bum. But it's all the whole film is it's creepy, it's eerie, and it just made I had to put it on my list, and it ended up at number 15. Came out in 1987, class of 87, and it has Alice Cooper in it. Go check it out; you might like it. Mm-hmm. On to you, deleted scenes.
All right, 15, Dog Soldiers. Neil Marshall film starring Kevin McKidd, Liam Cunningham, and Sam Pertwee. And I can sum this up in one sentence. Rourke's Drift with werewolves. Which is what my dad called it. And he actually saw this movie before I did. And yeah, you have a group of special forces soldiers in Scotland out in the forest on maneuvers, and they wind up tangling with werewolves. They seek shelter in a house that they find along the way, only to find out that the family that lived in the house are the werewolves. So as the werewolves are fighting their way in, the soldiers are fighting their way back out, and it's a pretty cool movie.
Let's see. Hello to Cam's Crash Courses. How you doing, brother? Good to see you. Wishing us happy Halloween. Saying hi to folks out there in chat. And hello, emotionally unstable amphibian. Good to see you, man. All right. Moving on to my number 14th pick on the list. The Terrifier from 2018. This movie has a character named Art the Clown, who is just hellifious, demonic, and out to get you no matter what. And he has no lines in the movie. He just gestures and he gestures and he taunts you in a way that's so creepy, especially if you have that fear of clowns. This movie's gonna scare you, and there is major gore within this film, and that's why I love it very much. So go check out The Terrifier from 2018. On to you, Deleted Scenes.
All right, number 14, Let the Right One In. The original version. And a young boy who, shall we say, has issues, meets a young girl who turns out to be a vampire, and the movie's basically about how he winds up being her Renfield. Anybody who thinks that the ending to that movie is a happy one, rethink it. And that's where it really hits you. It's pretty creepy. The swimming pool massacre is pretty well done, and it's a good one. Check it out.
Yeah, the French version, right? Not the remake American version,
right? The original,
which is also good.
Yeah,
but not quite as good as the original. Yeah. All right. Well, moving on to my number 13th on the list. I went with a whimsical film and a family film, but altogether creepy. Beetlejuice, starring Michael Keaton from 1988. and Winona Ryder, and I just love that film so much. I have to watch that almost every October. Whether it be on Halloween or just any old time in October, it's just always the perfect atmosphere for it. All right, moving back to you, Deleted Scenes.
My number 13 is Event Horizon.
Very good. Very good.
Basically, The Shining meets Lovecraft in space. Big fan of it. Maybe someday we will see the uncut version of it, but at the same time, I almost don't want to. Because as you know, right, they had the extra footage of what happened to the original crew. It was supposed to be much more gruesome than what's already in the movie. And it's like at the same time I'm curious, but at the same time I don't want to go there. And watching Sam Neill basically turn into Hellraiser at the end of it, that was
pretty. That's a really good one.
We have so many sights to show you, Yeah. So Event Horizon's my number 13.
All right. Moving on to number 12 on the list for me. I went with The Monster Squad, which I played here a couple weeks. We did watch along. From 1987. It pays homage to the Universal horror movies. It's got Wolfman in it. It's got Dracula. It's got Frankenstein in it. It's kind of a the Goonies turned into the Monster Squad, and then they
Yeah.
go hunting monsters, and it's a very short film, but very all too pleasing to the eye, and it's a fun film for all to watch of all ages. I highly recommend you go check out the Monster Squad from 1987. Um, Frankenstein Monster. It was played. Oh God, his name's escaping me. Anyway,
Oh,
it was the same guy who was
Tom
in
Noonan.
RoboCop
Yeah.
2. Yeah, RoboCop 2, and he also played Bigfoot in Harry and the Hendersons. Was John Lithgow. Uh, so so Monster Squad is my number 12 pick. Moving on to you, Deleted Scenes.
All right. My number 12. And I know I'm going to get stuck with Spears because it's low. It's that's not higher on my list. But you got to remember, I could have put another 20 movies on here and not been wrong. My number 12 is The Shining.
Right on. That's a very good pick.
And of course, having this, Wendy, give me the bat. And then she does. And,
and there's that unforgettable scene when he crashes through I think the bathroom door and say,
mhm.
Johnny's.
Right. And
That's just
again,
classic.
just that sense of dread and in isolation,
Yeah.
and got a pretty good sequel out of it.
Or he's going, or Danny's going, red rum, red
rum.
rum. Don't go into that room. Don't go into that one room. Altogether good classic.
Danny's not here anymore, Mrs. Torrance.
Wolfman, Big Al was quoting from the Monster Squad. Wolfman's got nuts. Classic line from the Monster Squad, yes. Connie clearly said she saw the Nightmare Before Christmas on the big screen today. Awesome. That was cool. Did you enjoy it?
I know.
Yeah, Nightmare Before Christmas is enjoyable anytime on the big screen at home. It's a perfect mashup of Halloween and Christmas. I don't claim it to be a Christmas movie. I don't claim it to be a Halloween. It's right there in between. You get both creepiness, and if you like Christmas, you got that in it too. So yeah, that's all perfect. All right, moving on to my number 11th on my list. I have Rob Zombie's House of a Thousand Corpses from 2003.
Good choice.
It's very creepy, very Texas Chainsaw Massacre-ish, and it's all delightful and creepy, and I just love it. I pretty much watch that one every October. If I miss out one year, I'm usually watching it some other time in the year. All right, moving on to you, Deleted Scenes.
All right. My number 11 is the Blair Witch Project.
Really?
Oh. Yeah. And because I like the mythology that they built around it. And even though it certainly was not the first movie to do it, trying to play it off as if you're watching something that really happened. That these three people really went into the woods and never came back. And that's what I liked about it more than anything. Was I fell in love with the mythology, and I liked the marketing, and it really drew you in. And you also have the whole thing of, okay, it's not a guy with a knife that you can fight.
Mm-hmm.
It's what you can't see. And you don't see the witch in that movie. And you can also question whether or not there actually is one, which was something that I thought was pretty cool too. So that's why I like it. I know there are some people who don't. People, and I can understand that. And there were people who were trying to compare it to, for example, Cannibal Holocaust. But I'm like, well, they're two entirely different movies. One is this balls out and in one case off, um, uh, kind of a smack at reality television and how far that might go. And Blair Witch is, like a campfire story you tell the kids. And that's what I like about it. It's something that John Houseman's character in The Fog would have told to those kids at the beginning of that movie. So
Yeah,
that's what I did about it.
I think I liked that movie when it came out, but it's lost some luster over the years with me. All right.
I understand.
Going on to my number 10th pick on my top 20 list, I went with 1987's Clive Barker film, Hellraiser. A story about a guy who moves back to his childhood home, and he has got a wife and a daughter, and he has a brother that's very creepy and somehow comes back. It's very creepy. He's got a puzzle box, and the gore in it's spectacular. It's chilly. It's eerie. Altogether fun film for October and Halloween. Go check out 1987's Hellraiser. On to you, deleted scenes.
Okay. My next one is the original Canadian My Bloody Valentine.
Oh, perfect. That's awesome.
And I saw this movie at a way too young age and completely creeped myself out. And have a good night, Cam. Harry Warden, man. This guy's not messing around, and again, very creepy. Sense of dread throughout the entire movie. It was the first movie I ever saw that genuinely scared me.
Cool.
And in a way, it's kind of it kind of becomes a murder mystery too, because once we find out that the person that we think is the killer, not to go and spoil a 40-year-old movie, we find out that the person that we think is the killer is out of the picture. And now you're kind of stuck with a mystery of, okay, who could it possibly be? And when you find out who it is, it does make sense. And just, again, that ending, man, it stays with you. It's a really creepy movie. Nice little back when Canadians knew how to make horror movies.
Yeah.
And they had this kind of boom of like horror movies in like the late 70s and early 80s. And My Bloody Valentine is definitely numbered among them. So that's my number 10.
All right. Very good. Very cool. All right, moving on to my number 9 on my top 20 list. I went with Dracula from 1990, 92, or was it 93?
92.
92.
Yeah.
Starring Keanu Reeves, Winona Ryder, and of course Hannibal Lecter himself as Van Helsing. This film, with also starring Gary Oldman, I just find it was such a good adaptation of Bram Stoker's Dracula, and of course updated for just what they did in that film with the special effects and original effects and makeup effects, and you know they give they give Gary Oldman's Dracula the boob hair job, but it was just also creepy with him turning with Dracula turning to mist and all that. It just I find so perfect, you know, to watch during the month of October, and it's a great Dracula film. Vampires, so that's my number 9. What is yours, deleted scenes?
All right. My number 9 is The Last House on the Left.
Ooh, that's a good one.
And this is a movie that I did not see for many years, but I had always heard of it. And once I finally saw it, I understood why I was kept away from it for so long. And it's basically a remake of an Ingmar Bergman movie called The Virgin Spring. And it has kind of a similar storyline. Obviously not as graphic, but it still has some intense moments in itself. And there's a point in that movie where I'm like, okay, this movie is dangerous.
Mm-hmm.
This is a movie. This is a movie that can hurt you.
Yeah.
And it does leave something of an emotional skid mark. But
I enjoyed the original and the remake equally.
The remake's really good too. Yeah. And even though the good thing about the remake, and the reason why I like the remake, is it takes out what I didn't like about the original, which was the scenes that I thought came off unintentionally funny. And I get why they're there, because they're supposed to offset the tension of all the gruesome shit that's going on. But I thought it was kind of over the top and clunky at the time. But I tell you, when you get to, you get to the revenge portion, when, the killers wind up at the house of the parents of one of their victims, and once, mom and dad find out what's happened, hell on wheels after that, man.
Yeah.
And it's one that definitely stays with you. And like I said, I don't get scared often in horror movies, but it's one of those few that did creep me out.
Yeah.
So that's number 9.
Okay. Moving on to my number 8 on my top 20 list. I have 1985's George Romero classic, Day of the Dead. It's a zombie film from 1985. And the most memorable parts is Dr. Tongue, and which is a zombie, and Bub, Bub the zombie. The doctor was teaching him how to be, well, not so zombie-ish, and it's all gruesome. It's got some great gore. Shot in Florida and other places. But it's a perfect zombie film and the film for the month of October. So that is my number 8 pick. And on to you, delayed scenes.
All right. My number 8 from 1932, Todd Browning's Freaks.
Oh, good choice.
And it's a I always imagined what the pitch meeting for that movie must have been. You know, Todd Browning walking into Carl Lummley's office and going, I want to tell a story about brotherhood and betrayal, love and hate, greed, selflessness, and I want to set it against the world of the circus. Yeah. Great, kid. Start filming. Right. But I want to use real live deformed children. Pinheads, people with no arms and legs, it's like, what kind of a movie is this? And it's the story of a plot by a trapeze artist and a strongman. They're going to get the trapeze artist to marry this circus midget because he's rich. How he ended up with all that money is anybody's guess, but he's rich, and they decide that she's going to marry him and then kill him for the money, and that she and the strong man can run off together with his money. But the his cohorts find out what's going on and kind of exact their revenge. And it's pretty it gets pretty messed up. But in that final scene of what happens to what they ultimately did to the trapeze artist, is you're kind of wondering, God, that's creepy, but at the same time, how?
Yeah.
It's a good one, and a really cool thing about it is Master Blaster's in it from Thunderdome.
Yep.
You get to see a young version of Master. So yeah.
Right on. Right on. All right. My number 7th on the list is 1987's Lost Boys. Nice. Starring Corey Haim, Jason Patrick. I forget what the mother's name is, but it's where they made where it's a vampire movie where they made vampires look cool and they were cool. Yeah, I mean, it's got the best, coolest on-screen vampires, and it's a short film, and it's just perfect for the month of October, and enjoy that. It's one of my all-time favorites. Lost Boys, 1987. Go check it out. Back to you, deleted scenes.
All right. My number 7 is The Evil Dead.
Oh, right on.
Bruce Campbell. Need I say more?
Yep.
It is the quintessential cabin in the woods movie.
Yeah, that came out 1981.
81.
Yeah, and the makeup effects are pretty cool. Yeah. They got pretty gory with that one. They had a lot of movie blood in that, and yeah, that one's perfect. Bone, hello, Bone, hail to you, Bone. Yeah, he's saying 87 was an epic year for movies. It truly was. 87 had a lot of great horror films, a lot of great action films. Yeah, groovy. Yeah, Death by Stereo, going back to the Lost Boys. Yeah, perfect. D. Pesnick. Welcome, brother. All right. Moving on to my number 6 overall pick is The American Werewolf in London from 1981, starring Daniel Naughton. This film was a film about two guys traveling, backpacking through Europe, and they encounter on their journey. They stop at this town called East Proctor, and they go into this bar called the Slaughtered Lamb, and one of them sees a pentagram on the wall and asks, "Why do you have that there?" and the town folk, because they're all English, and they're like, "What are these two American guys doing here?" And like, we don't want them here. And like, so they didn't have any food. They didn't have much to drink. And then they kind of send the two boys on their way, and they're on their way. They told them to stick to the roads, and they forgot that rule. And well, they went into something they didn't want to run into, and you have a great picture. It's got a great. It's Rick Baker did the special makeup effects in this film, and it's got one of the best werewolf transformations on film. It's just altogether perfect for a werewolf movie and perfect for Halloween. So that is my number 6 pick. On to you, Deleted Scenes.
All right, my number 6 is the original Friday the 13th.
Oh, right on.
And of course, this is the the granddaddy of slasher movies. Well, I mean, this and one other that's going to come up here in a bit. And because Friday the 13th was obviously inspired by another movie I think we're both going to have high on our list here.
Yeah.
And but I like this in the fact that, again, you get this mythology of Jason of Crystal Lake. And of course, the one thing that the kids always get wrong, Jason's not the killer in the first movie. So once again, it's a movie that becomes kind of a mystery.
Yep.
And when your lead cast gets winnowed down to next to nothing, you kind of start to wonder, all right, we got a second player here, folks. And trying to figure out the continuity of the Friday the 13th movies later on gets a little difficult. It's not quite choose your own adventure, but it kind of could be. But yeah, and you have those great, Tom Savini makeup effects, and
Yep.
that's what makes the movie. And the characters are likable. So when they do start to die, you actually do start to care. This is before you started.
You have a young
rooting
Kevin
for the
Bacon
killer.
in that
You
film.
get a young Kevin Bacon, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. That was perfect.
Yeah.
All right. Moving on. We're in the fivers. We've reached my top 5 overall pick. My top number 5 overall pick is 1982's Poltergeist. It's like the perfect haunted house movie. This has had everything, and I still find elements, whether the film be cursed or not, it still creeps me out, and like there's scenes in the film that are I just enjoy watching so much. Uh, there's scenes in there where he eats food and the food. Okay, spoiler alert: the food moves. This was directed by Tobe Hooper, who also directed uh, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and yes, it's one of them Hollywood so cursed films. Uh, but I love every moment of it. It's perfect Halloween film, and go check out class of 1982's Poltergeist. On to you, deleted scenes. You're
So we
muted.
have a quick question. All right.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. That's why I was muting myself. Sorry, I had to sneeze. We do have one quick question before we go on here into chat. What do you guys think about the Poltergeist curse?
Yeah, I can't believe it.
Well, I don't really think of it as a curse. If Craig T. Nelson or Joe Beth Williams had died right after making it as well, then I would say maybe it was a curse. But no, I mean, I don't really attribute the deaths of any of the cast members to that movie. You had two actors in the sequel who knew pretty much that it was going to be their final film because they were already sick. You have a Dominique Dunn from the first movie. In an abusive relationship, unfortunately. Something not necessarily connected to the movie. And the only way that you could say that maybe there's a curse would be maybe with the third movie, because you watch that movie and it's obvious that Heather O'Rourke is not well, and the fact that they continued to make a movie with this young girl who's ill and being misdiagnosed, it is not an easy thing to see. But I don't think that there's anything directly to attribute to it. I also said I always heard that Steven Spielberg used real human cadavers because it was cheaper and rubber props for all the scenes with the bodies falling out of coffins.
That is a true fact.
That is true. Not only is that true, you would be surprised by how many movies have done that.
Yeah, Creepshow.
They
did the same thing in Creepshow. The skeleton in Creepshow was an actual skeleton.
Mm-hmm.
I know.
Yeah. There's a movie in the 30s, I forgot the name of it, where one of the actors died literally while they were in the middle of a scene. And his last line of dialogue is, "And that's all I have to say." And he sits down and he dies. Literally at that moment dies. And the over the shoulder shots of him are not a double. It's the actor dead in the chair. And then when the director was finished with the shot, okay, get him out of here. Yeah. See, you would be surprised how many movies actually have dead bodies or dead actors, in them. And welcome, Edge of Time.
And hello, Lady Miss. Always good to see you, Lady Miss, our guardian of the void. Always pleasure to have you. See you here.
Yeah.
Yes.
They were real.
Yeah. Yeah, they were
in
real.
Poltergeist. Okay.
Did you do your number 5?
My turn. My number 5 is Texas Chainsaw Massacre. And yeah, again, one of those few movies that did manage to creep me out. Yeah, I got most of the way through it on my first viewing, and I first saw TCM on TCM, on Turner Classic Movies, and it was the first time that it had been certainly shown on Turner Classic, and might have been like the first or second time it ever got shown on television. Period. The original, yes, the original, and I got through it most of the way until they got to the infamous dinner scene. And then that's when I started to go, okay, this is getting unpleasant, but yeah, great classic movie. The scene when you first see Leatherface, and he pops that guy on the noggin and drags him in and slams the door shut, and you go, well, he's screwed. He's in the lair now,
Yeah.
And we won't be seeing him again. And the other kind of fun story that you hear from that is, again, spoiler alert for an almost 50-year-old movie. Well, about 50 years now, plus. Yeah, this scene where the hitchhiker's been hit by the truck and he's face down on the pavement. And the guy who plays the hitchhiker is an actor named Edwin Neal. And before he was an actor, he was in the military and he'd been in Vietnam. And he says, when I was 20 years old, I led 32 men through triple canopy jungle, not knowing where Charlie was going to come from next. And that summer in Texas was worse. And he had to be the scene, that final shot of him where he's face down in the pavement. It's almost like he's at one with the pavement because he's been run over, mushed. And he actually got burned because the asphalt was so hot, But yeah,
I agree with you, Bone.
TCM is a classic for a reason. Part 2 is good.
Yeah. All right.
Deep Penzak says, I shared a convention table with Ed Neal years ago. What a character. Yeah, he seems pretty personable based on what I've seen and heard about him. Yeah.
All right.
And
well, go ahead.
Did we mention the Twilight Zone? Twilight Zone, the movie. Good movie. I don't really consider it necessarily a horror movie per se. It is in places. The stuff that, everything involving the behind the scenes and Vic Morrow, that whole incident there, I think is more horrific than anything in the movie. But it's a good one. It's a good movie. It's not my 20, but it's a good one.
Yeah.
Go on, Bill.
Okay. Let's see. We're at number 4. I'm at number 4 on the list. My list.
Mm-hmm.
Number 4. I have 1973's William Peter Blatty. Yeah.
Oh, William Friedkin.
The Exorcist.
Friedkin and Blatty. Yeah.
1973's The Exorcist, which I saw for the first time when I was babysitting. And let me tell you, this movie creeps me out for certain reasons, because as I was babysitting and the kids were gone to bed or something, I heard weird noises. And this film didn't actually scare me. What scared me was the paranoia that came after viewing it for the first time. You know, I would hear odd noises somewhere, whether it be my house or the house I would be sitting at, and altogether creepy. And I just love 1973's The Original Exorcist. I have the original cut, the director's cut, and I watch that every October, at least once or twice, maybe even 3 times. It's yeah. Unlike Beetlejuice, it doesn't keep getting funnier every time. I just enjoy it each and every time. So that is my number 4 pick. On to you, deleted scenes.
All right. My number 4 is the granddaddy of all zombie movies, Night of the Living Dead.
1968.
1968.
George Romero classic.
Indeed. I first saw it back in the day on AMC. Back in the early days of AMC.
Which
no shows.
Is also in the public domain. You could hear if you could you could actually show it on your YouTube channel if you wanted to.
And
public domain. Many of us have done it before, so you can get away with it too and not get strict. And it's an excellent film. You can rip tracks it, you can enjoy it. It's just altogether enjoyable. You know, they used Hershey's syrup, chocolate syrup as blood in that film.
Yeah.
Oh.
Right. I first saw Nodled, as they call it on Rip Tracks. Not lead, Nodled, no tellid. No. I first saw it on AMC back in the day. AMC at that point in time did not show TV series. There was no Breaking Bad, no Walking Dead, no Mad Men. Just classic movies. And they used to have these host segments, Nick Clooney, Bob Dorian, anyway. And I first saw Night of the Living Dead. And again, a movie where I was like, why does everybody think this is so scary?
Yeah.
And then you get to the scene where Dimwit and his girlfriend blow themselves up in their truck. And the zombies have a cookout, so to speak. And I went, oh, well, okay, they're going to cut away. They're not cutting away. Oh my God, they're not stopping. You just kind of see these zombies munching on what's left of these two. And
they're coming to get you, Barbara. I love that line.
Russell Striner. Yes.
That's so cool. You could use it, you could use it to taunt your siblings. I know because I did. I used to taunt my little brother. They're coming to get you, Jeffrey. They're coming to get you.
And all of the other editions, as far as I'm concerned, are cash grabs. See the original, the Tom Savini remake. I like that. I don't have any problems with that. But the anniversary edition where they stuck the new scenes in, they didn't need that. I've seen it, but stay away from that version. Yeah, stick with the original.
Yeah.
So that's my number 4.
Okay. Moving on to my number 3 on my top 20 list is 1973's Tobe Hooper classic, The Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Yes. So it made it had to make my top 5, and I love it for so many reasons. It's creepy. I love the chainsaw. I love that dinner scene. Leatherface, and yeah, I love everything about it. It is it's just the perfect Halloween October film to must watch in October or any time of the year. It's good. Texas Chainsaw Massacre is good any time of the year, but we would be more creepy when you watch it on Halloween or close to Halloween. All right, so that's my number 3. On to you, deleted scenes.
My number 3 is Alien.
Good one.
Yeah. Again, a movie that I watched when I was very young. Couldn't sleep, so I went into the living room, turned on the TV, and there's Alien. And again, a movie I didn't necessarily get scared at, even after the chestburster scene happened. I was so wrapped up in the production design and in the life cycle of the alien, because, you know, you remember in that movie, the alien never looks the same in any scene that it's in. You see the complete life cycle of this thing. So I got wrapped up in that. And I figured the actor that I knew best was Tom Skerritt.
Have you seen the director's cut?
I have seen the director's cut, yes.
And do you like the director's cut versus the theatrical version?
It's fine.
I like both versions.
The new scenes that are in it, you can keep them, you can leave them. But
equally creepy and
Yeah.
scary, and to an extent. I mean, They don't scare me. I just love it. I've watched horror films and scary movies, sci-fi, with great joy. And I don't know why.
Well, like I said, when the only actor that I really knew was Tom Skerritt, because you have to remember at that time, Sigourney Weaver wasn't Sigourney Weaver yet.
Yeah.
It was like she had like a bit part in like a Woody Allen movie, but she hadn't really been in anything yet.
Mm-hmm.
So my thought was, okay.
Oh, you gotta
Tom
love
Skerritt,
it. You gotta love
Giger,
H.R. Geiger's design of the alien.
Yeah, great. And the thing is with Tom Skerritt was the actor that I knew, so I figured, okay, he's the captain of the ship. He's going to figure out what's going on. He's going to figure out how to kill this thing. He's not going to save everybody, but he's going to be the hero who's going to save the day. And then you get halfway through the movie and he gets taken away.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when I started getting a little creeped out, because it's like, all right, now what are we going to do? And then Sigourney Weaver's Ripley becomes, the strong female character we have all loved for 40 plus years. So get that straight in your head, Hollywood.
I love what Tom Skerritt's going through the different ducts, and it's in the darkness, and he's got this flamethrower. Yeah, that was all together perfect.
Uh-huh.
Brilliantly thought out scenes.
Great movie.
Yeah. All right. I guess I'll do my number 2 pick of my top 20 list. I have John Carpenter's remake, The Thing, from 1982. Rob Bottin did the special effects. I mean, you want a monster film on Halloween that's very creepy and holds up perfectly to this very day. Go view John Carpenter's The Thing. I mean, are you gonna be fucking kidding me? Who does not love? Spoiler alert! when the when he's trying to revive the guy and his arms get eaten off by teeth, and you have heads detaching from bodies and they sprout legs and rock away. Oh, I just love it so much. Just love the creepiness of the monsters, you know. And again, isolation. There you go. That's my number two. 1982's The Thing. On to you, deleted scenes.
It's my number 2 as well.
Right on.
And for all of the reasons that you said. And again, the dread, the isolation, the great should have been Oscar-winning special effects.
Mm-hmm.
It's one of my go-to movies. Kurt Russell kicks ass. Keith David kicks ass. Everybody's great. Pitch perfect. All the performances, and trying to figure out who's the thing and when. That's another thing that you have a lot of fun with, especially on first viewing.
Mm-hmm.
And going back to Connie Cleary's statement, the originals are the best. Yeah, the original version of the thing is really good too. Different kind of movie, but yeah, still a lot of fun to see.
Yeah, love the Thing. Awesome, indeed.
And the 4K is outstanding if you ever see it on 4K.
Oh yeah, I think I have it on Blu-ray, but I would like to get my hands on the 4K. All right, so my number one out of my top 20 is
Drumroll.
Wes Craven's 1978 immoral classic Halloween. Michael Myers. It's just, I don't know what it is about the film. It just resonates Halloween, and yes, it's a slasher film, and who is based now in our picks. We have a lot of slashers, and they all arranged from another, Psycho, and were based on real life serial killer like Psycho, Michael Myers, and Leatherface were all kind of based on the character of Ed Gein. And then you have these Hollywood types who went and made these films and wrote that different and made these horrific movie monsters, slashers, and it all to the light and lovable characters. I mean, you gotta love these characters in these films. And I love 1978's Halloween, and that's my tippy top number one on my list. On to you, deleted scenes.
Well, we've done it again. It's my number one as well. And this is my go-to movie. Every Halloween night, I watch Halloween. It's the granddaddy of slasher films. It is Jamie Lee Curtis is the best final girl. I just love everything about it. And the Halloween franchise over the last few years has become kind of like a choose your own adventure, which is not necessarily the way I would have gone, but the original still holds up. It still holds up for me. I think it's great.
Bobby World did ask, did the original Psycho or the original House on Hill make the list? I believe the original
House on Haunted Hill is on mine.
Made your list.
Uh-huh.
I would have
And
liked to put Psycho on, but yeah, I just it did it. You know,
Psycho's a great movie. Like I said,
it is a classic. Yeah,
I'm sure Bill and I could come up with another 20 list.
yeah.
I winnowed my list down from like 40 plus, down to,
Yeah, it was difficult
what I
coming
said
up with
today.
these
And,
kind of. It's like, damn, you
and
just wanted like
I
none
did,
of us had Fright Night or not Fright Night,
well,
Nightmare on Elm Street in our top 20.
get Nightmare on Elm Street,
Yeah,
another good one. Yeah.
yeah,
And if you're going to put Nightmare on Elm Street on that list, you got to put Phantasm on that list,
yeah, yeah.
because I think they kind of relate in many ways.
D. Pesnick says excellent selections with both of your lists. Well, thank you.
Mhm.
We do have five. We have five honorable mentions, five from deleted and five from myself, and we're going to get to those. Were you done elaborating on Halloween, or you got some more?
No, I'm done.
Okay, we'll go over our five honorable mentions, and let me move back here to my five honorable mentions, starting with number 25, or would be number 25, would be Rob Zombie's The Devil's Rejects. Uh, I love, because it's another Texas Chainsaw Massacre film, and there's some craziness going on in that film. Yes, I did have Fright Night in my main list, but Devil's Rejects would gets my 25 as an honorable mention. Um, okay, deleted scenes. What would be your 25 honorable mention film that didn't make our top 20, but you wanted to?
Stephen King's It, the 1990 miniseries.
Oh, very good. Very good pick. And why?
And
Why?
again, it's a good story. Like everybody else, I think the half of the movie with the kids is better than the half of the adults, but
Oh,
still,
you
a good
got to
cast.
mention Tim Curry as Pennywise.
Tim Curry is Pennywise.
Spectacular.
Yeah, I mean, great villain.
That clown. You hear him speak in that, and you think of him in that makeup. It's just so creepy and scary. I don't have a fear of clowns, but damn, that's one clown I would, if I met in real life, would be like, oh shit, run the hell the other way. Definitely. Right on. All right, so my number 24 honorable mention is on. It's in our thumbnail right there. Killer Clowns from Outer Space. Love that classic film, and that's an honorable mention. That number 24 would be 24 on my list. Killer Clowns. I mean, they shoot guns and shoot cotton candy, and I mean, how cool is that? Yeah. What's yours? Number 24.
My number 24 is a movie called Targets. From it's I think that was also 68. I might be wrong. Boris Karloff is in it, and he is an aging horror star. He's basically playing himself in a lot of ways, and he winds up tangling with this kind of Charles Whitman type character who shoots up his film premiere. It's I don't know if people would really consider it a horror movie. I do. you know, because it was, like I said, based on this real life incident. And then there's some pretty dark stuff in it, because this sniper, he does not care who he kills.
Yeah.
And you know, Boris Karloff kind of has to deal with him, and that's kind of both a good thing and a sad thing at the same time, because even though he's, spoiler alert for a 60-plus-year-old movie, you know, Boris Karloff gets the sniper at the end. He captures him. He knocks him, beats him half to death with his cane. And that final line that he has when he looks up and he sees himself up on the screen, and they're using scenes from The Terror, I think. He looks up at the screen, he looks back down at the sniper, and he goes, "I'm not scary anymore. I'm just an old man. But that guy down there, he's the one that people should fear. That's why nobody wants to see my movies. You know, they're not scared of me." And that's kind of both the realization of that, and then of him kind of seeing that, being face to face with kind of his own mortality, is both kind of uplifting and sad at kind of the same time. You know, he thinks he's kind of lost his edge, but he takes this kid out anyway, you know, but at the same time realizing that, you know, the world is a much more horrific place than anything he could ever come up with in any movie. It's interesting. Yeah. It always stuck with me.
All right. My number 23 honorable mention is a film from 2003, Jeepers Creepers. Now, the director got in some trouble because he had some legal issues and was frowned upon. But I really love Jeepers Creepers. I mean, the creeper, the car chase on the highway, and I love the scene that you could barely see, but I wish we could see more of. Is where he's in the basement of the church, and he sees, spoiler alert, bodies stitched together. And I just freaking love that. If I saw that in real life, I'd be scared out of my mind and be running the other way. And I love Jeepers Creepers for that. And the creeper is so creepy. And like I said, I saw the first two films, but I didn't. I can't take. I can't take it to watch the sequels, because after two, I was just done. It was just like, no. Plus, I've heard from other folks how bad and terrible the other ones are. So, Jeepers Creepers gets my number 23. What's yours? Deleted scenes.
This one is kind of a cheat, because I'm going to bring up two movies, and I'm bringing them up because I think one is kind of a remake of the other, even though they never admit to it. Intensity and High Tension.
Okay.
Intensity was a Dean R. Koontz novel, and it was made into actually a television movie, like it, shown over 2 nights. And it's about this woman who comes from this very abusive childhood. Has a hard time trusting people. And she does befriend this other woman, kind of gets used to her. They become friends, and this friend says, hey, I'm going out to the country, to this cabin, to see my family. It's going to be a reunion. Come with me. You know, you need to get out more. Come with me. So she goes, and they all get murdered. By this serial killer who specializes in killing families. And she survives because the killer isn't expecting her to be there. So it becomes this whole chase scene of trying not to be caught by this guy, finding out who he is, finding out that he actually has this young girl kidnapped. So it becomes kind of unmask the killer and save this girl. And it's pretty interesting stuff. And it obviously inspired High Tension, which was this French horror film in the
movie.
90s.
That's a great movie.
And it is good, but the ending doesn't make any damn sense.
Yeah.
At all. But it's still good.
I don't care. I enjoyed the film. I own it.
Wait a minute. If it was you the whole time, then how did what?
Yeah.
And I'm not dunking on it. I like it, but the ending is totally wrong. But it obvious, but up until the ending and the whole lesbian angle, it is beat for beat the storyline from Intensity. It is a total ripoff. So that's why
I never saw Intensity, but I've seen High Tension.
If I bring up one, I kind of have to bring up the other because they're
right.
They're pretty much, except for the last 10 minutes of High Tension, they're exactly the same movie.
Yeah. All right. Lady Miss says she liked 1963's The Haunted. It was a good scary movie. I'm gonna have to check that out, Lady Miss. Got me wondering. I don't know if I've seen that one. Maybe I have. I don't know. I've seen so many films throughout my life. I can't keep up with all of them. Anyway, I have as my number 23. What is it? No, was it 20? Sorry, 2022. 22nd. Honorable mention. I'd have The Terrifier 2 from 2022. It's a sequel to The Terrifier. Again, you get to see Art the Clown doing his thing. And I love it for the gore, and it's a good film. I really enjoyed it. What is your number 22?
Cabin in the Woods.
Oh, that's a good one.
It is. And when you realize that, I mean, and you think, and remember, this movie was advertised as just like a straight up Cabin in the Woods movie, which unfortunately is why I stayed away from it when it was in theaters, not knowing the fact that the trailers basically did not give away what the real plot of the movie is, which is the fact that you have these guys in this underground, facility who are, what's the word I'm looking for? They're manipulating these college kids who are at this cabin, because they need them to follow this script, this behavior, so that they can appease these like giant gods that are going to destroy the world. And, it's a pretty good one. I had a lot of fun with it.
Yeah.
You think it's going to be this tropey camp, dashed off Cabin in the Woods movie, and then you realize it's a movie that's actually making fun of all of that.
All right. In at 21, my 21 pick that didn't quite make my honorable my main list, but I wanted it in there. I have to go with the Bride of Frankenstein, the original Bride of Frankenstein. Classic. Love that film. That's right in there at 21. Bride of Frankenstein. What is yours? Deleted scene. What's your number 21?
My number 21 is John Carpenter's Prince of Darkness. The second in the Apocalypse trilogy, which was, of course, The Thing and In the Mouth of Madness. And I like the kind of slow burn quality to it. Obviously, a movie, again, inspired by Lovecraft. Finding out that these transmissions that they're getting are from the future, trying to decipher what that last shot means after all these years. Great movie. I could have just as easily just put all of John Carpenter's movies on this list, but
right.
I did try to space things out. I didn't necessarily want to overlap too much either, but yeah, I mean, all three of his quote unquote apocalypse trilogies, just check out all three. They're all great.
Yeah. My Prince of Darkness made my number 15 in my list. Yeah. And Lady Miss puts in the link for that 1963 classic where you all can go watch The Haunted from 1963. Go check that out, boils and ghouls, and you to your horror delight and enjoy. Watch it there and have fun. Thank you very much, Lady Mist. All right, well, we did our top 20 list and 5 honorable mentions. I hope I've had a blast with you all tonight. Thank you very much, Deleted Scenes. This was a blast.
You're welcome.
We'll have to come up with some more lists and do this again in maybe a different genre.
Indeed.
What you got going on later this evening?
Tonight, let's say in about a half hour or so, I am going to have a review of Five Nights at Freddy's.
I believe that's a horror film that you can watch on Hulu, right? Is it Hulu
Peacock.
or Peacock? Peacock. I knew it was one of those. I have all those things. It's like I knew it was one of them.
And tomorrow night over on my channel, you can join me along with Troy Pacelli, Netters Network, and Aged Boomer for episode 2 of Live from Sparkwood and 21, which is a new series where we rewatch and discuss the Twin Peaks television series. And this episode coming up is just perfect for a Halloween night. So stay tuned. Watch along with us.
Oh, yes. And if you'd like to help support Deleted Scenes, please do so. There's a link. Help our good brother Deleted Scenes out. He's, just support because we love Deleted Scenes and he's got some great content. Go support him if you can. Yes. Just
thank you, Bill.
Click that link. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Right here. Watch it in the dark. I will, Lady Mist.
Indeed.
Believe me, I love the dark. I watch every movie in the dark. It's like I have to have it dark. My room is dark. I got curtains that block out the sunlight pretty much. Just like I'm pretty much a vampire in here, but I love the dark. I mean, my computer's pretty lit up because with all the RGB, but hey, pretty much I love watching movies in the dark. It makes the atmosphere so much better. But thank you, Connie, clearly Bone, and so many of you guys who joined us here tonight. If you have anything you would like to link in the chat, deleted scenes, go ahead and let them know about it.
All right, we'll do. I also want to put the Indiegogo page up to support our friend Latino Slant, Paulie, with his new book. I'm going to put that in the chat as well.
Cool.
So there you go.
We're glad you had fun. We had fun. Well, I can't speak for deleted scenes, but I know I had a blast. So
I absolutely hated this. Do not invite me on your channel ever again. How dare you, sir? How dare you question me and the films that I like? And I am out of here. Goodbye. No. I had fun with this, and like you said, Bill likes his horror movies, and I like mine too. And we could have just as easily, done a top 50, but we kept it short. We kept it to 20 with 25, but. Yeah, and if you haven't seen any of the selections that we brought up, or anything that was brought up in the chat, I know I put a couple of titles in the chat that didn't quite make the list, but yeah, good times, and we've had some good horror movies this year too, so that I'm sure will be on future lists. So check us out.
All right,
Bum says next year do a 50 list.
We might have a revised list, and we might have it all where we could have things on the screen where it could be more high tech for you. Yeah. So yeah, we'll take that under consideration. I think tomorrow, if anybody interested at 3 p.m. 3 p.m. Mountain is what time for you? I'm gonna do a double feature tomorrow. I'm gonna play It's the Great Pumpkin, Charlie Brown, and my 21 honorable mention, The Bride of Frankenstein. So anybody want to come join, hang out, watch some scary movies with me? There'll be a link to my screening room where we can watch along. That's what I got planned for tomorrow.
Definitely jump in when and if I can.
Okay. Excellent. Excellent. All right, boys and girls, you've been a splendid audience. We appreciate y'all. Thanks for being here. Be excellent to each other. Be safe. Have a good time. Have a great rest of your night and evening. And unpleasant dreams. Now to you, deleted scenes.
I'm going to go out with my usual closer. Good night. Take care. Stay strong. Watch some horror films on Halloween, because this is how we win. Good night.
Yep. Good night, folks.